My parents gave my brother the savings, the praise, and the lake house. But when I found the deed in my name, I sold it without a word and left them with nothing but silence. I'm Quinn, 32, a UX designer clawing my way through Chicago's tech scene. My life's okay. Decent apartment, a couple of close friends, a job that keeps me busy. But family? That's where it gets messy. Growing up in our suburban Chicago split level, I was always the odd one out. My parents, Margaret and Richard, had a clear favorite, my younger brother Ethan, 6 years younger, charming, reckless, and somehow untouchable. Mom's a receptionist, always frazzled, answering phones for some dental office. Dad's a logistics coordinator, obsessed with schedules, but blind to his own flaws. Ethan? He's 26, an aspiring chef who thinks he's Gordon Ramsay but can barely boil water without a crisis. From the jump, it was Ethan's world. I was just living in it. When I was 12, I'd spend hours sketching app interfaces in my notebook. Nerdy, I know. Mom would glance at them, sigh, and say, "Quinn, don't waste your time. Ethan's got a soccer game." Soccer. The kid tripped over his own feet, but they'd cheer like he was Messi. By 16, I was working summers at a coffee shop to save for college. Ethan, he got a used Honda for his birthday. He needs it for culinary school visits, Dad said. Like I wasn't biking 3 miles to work. I'd lie awake at night, wondering, why was it always him? Why was I the difficult one? They called me that. Difficult. Too stubborn, too ambitious, too much. If I argued about chores, Mom would snap, "Stop being so selfish, Quinn." Ethan could skip dishes, crash the car, flunk classes, and they'd shrug. "He's trying," they'd say. "Trying what? To burn the house down with his experimental cooking?" I swallowed it, though. Kept my head down, got my degree, moved out. I thought distance would dull the sting. It didn't. Every call home was a reminder. Ethan's new recipe, Ethan's big plans, Ethan's potential. Meanwhile, I landed a solid job. But did they care? Nope. "Don't stress your brother out, Quinn," Mom would say when I mentioned a promotion. Like my life was a footnote. I built my own world in the city. My apartment's small but mine, plants on the windowsill, a desk cluttered with wireframe sketches. Work's intense, designing apps for startups that think they're the next Uber. I'm good at it too. My boss says I've got an eye for what users need. If only my parents saw that. Instead, I'd get texts like, "Ethan's pitching his restaurant idea to investors." Investors? The guy who forgot to pay his phone bill last month? I'd roll my eyes, reply with a thumbs up emoji, and move on. That's what I do, move on. Until Mom's call last week. Her voice was different. Shaky. "Quinn, I'm not well," she said. My stomach dropped. Not well. What does that mean? She wouldn't say much, just that she needed me home. "We miss you," she added, and I froze. Miss me? Since when? I sat on my couch, staring at my phone, heart pounding. Was this it? A chance to fix things? To be seen? I wanted to believe it, but something gnawed at me. 20 years of being second place don't vanish with one call. Still, I booked a train to the suburbs. Maybe, just maybe, they'd changed. The house looked the same, faded blue siding, overgrown lawn. Mom hugged me, her eyes red. "It's so good to see you," she whispered. I nodded, throat tight. Dad was quieter, fidgeting with his coffee mug. Ethan wasn't there. Off networking, Mom said. Of course. We sat in the living room, the same lumpy couch from my childhood. I waited for Mom to talk about her health, but she kept dodging. "It's just tests," she said, waving it off. "We'll figure it out." Instead, she talked about Ethan, his restaurant dreams, his big break. I bit my tongue. Same old story. Then Dad chimed in. "We're thinking of selling the lake house," he said, not meeting my eyes. The lake house, our family's pride, a cozy cabin on Lake Michigan. Grandma left it to us, her only real legacy. "Ethan could use the money for his business," Dad added. I stared at him. "Use the money? For Ethan's half-baked plan?" "What about me?" I asked, voice sharper than I meant. Mom frowned. "Don't start, Quinn. We're a family." "A family? Right, where I'm the afterthought." That night, I couldn't sleep. The guest room smelled like mildew, and my old sketches were still stuffed in a drawer. I pulled one out, a clunky app design from high school. I'd shown it to Dad once, hoping he'd care. He'd said, "Focus on something practical." Ethan's cooking, though? That was art. I tossed the sketch back, my chest tight. Why was I here? To play the good daughter again? To nod while they poured everything into Ethan? Mom's call had felt like a lifeline, but now it felt like a trap. Something wasn't right. I could feel it, like a storm brewing, and I wasn't sure I'd like what came next. I woke up to the smell of burnt toast. Typical, Ethan must have been cooking again. I dragged myself downstairs hoping for coffee, but Mom was already hovering, her phone buzzing nonstop. "Everything okay?" I asked, nodding at the screen. She flinched, tucked it away. "Just work," she mumbled. Work at 7 in the morning? Her eyes darted to Dad, who was scrolling on his phone, oblivious. Something was off, but I let it slide. I was here for answers about Mom's health, not to play detective. At least that's what I told myself. Breakfast was tense. Mom kept talking about Ethan's restaurant pitch. He's meeting investors next week, she said, like it was the second coming. I sipped my coffee, bitter as my mood. What about your tests? I asked. She waved it off. Oh, we're still waiting. Waiting? She'd sounded half dead on the phone. Why the dodge? Dad changed the subject, muttering about supply chain issues at work. I wasn't buying it. My gut screamed they're hiding something. Later, I found Dad's phone on the counter, unlocked. I know, snooping's low. But after years of being sidelined, I was done waiting for honesty. I scrolled through his texts. Most were work stuff, boring logistics jargon. Then I saw it, Natalie. A coworker, sure, but the messages weren't about spreadsheets. Miss you. Meet me at the Hilton. My stomach churned. Was Dad cheating? I clicked out, hands shaking. No way. Not him. He's boring, not a sleaze, right? I couldn't confront him. Not yet. I needed more. So I kept my eyes open. That afternoon, Ethan breezed in, all grins and cologne. Big sis, he called like we were buddies. I forced a smile. He launched into his restaurant spiel, some fusion taco joint that changed the game. I nodded, half listening, until he mentioned money. Mom and Dad are helping out, he said, casual. Helping how? The lake house sale? I pressed him, but he got cagey. Just some savings, he said, then bolted for a meeting. Yeah, right. That night I couldn't sleep. The guest room felt like a cage. I grabbed my laptop, logged into the family's shared bank account, something I hadn't checked in years. My heart stopped. Thousands gone. Withdrawals labeled business expenses, tied to Ethan's name. 10,000 here, 5,000 there. Savings I'd helped build, working those coffee shop summers. Ethan's big break was bleeding them dry. Did Mom and Dad know? They had to. Why weren't they stopping him? I confronted Mom the next morning, alone in the kitchen. What's going on with the money? I asked, keeping my voice steady. She froze, coffee mug midair. What money? She said, too quick. I laid it out. The withdrawals, Ethan's name. Her face crumpled. He's trying, Quinn. He needs this. Needs what? To blow their retirement on a pipe dream? I pushed harder. And Dad's texts? Who's Natalie? Her eyes widened, then narrowed. You're snooping now? That's low, even for you. Low? Me? I laughed, bitter. Family sticks together, right? So why's it always me in the dark? She didn't answer, just turned away, fussing with dishes. I wanted to scream. Was this why she called me home? To clean up Ethan's mess while Dad played house with Natalie? I stormed out, grabbed my phone, and texted a friend from work, Lila. She's a data analyst, sharp as a tack. Can you dig into someone's finances? I asked. She didn't ask questions, just said, send me what you've got. I sent her Ethan's bank details, the ones linked to the family account. If he was hiding something, I'd find it. Lila got back to me in hours. Your brother's a mess, she texted, attaching screenshots. Ethan's business account was a black hole. Bar tabs, cash withdrawals, even a trip to Vegas. No investors, no restaurant. Just him, living large while Mom and Dad played dumb. I sat on the porch, staring at the screenshots, my chest tight. How could they let him do this? And Dad? Those texts to Natalie weren't one-offs. Lila found hotel receipts on his credit card. 2 nights at the Hilton, 3 at a Marriott. Business trips, he'd called them. Sure. I went back inside, ready to explode, but Mom was on the phone, whispering. She hung up fast when she saw me. Who was that? I asked. No one, she said, too sharp, I didn't buy it. Mom, what's going on? The money, Dad, your health, what aren't you telling me? She sighed, heavy. Quinn, stop. You're making this harder than it needs to be. Harder? I was trying to help, to understand. But it hit me, they didn't want me here for me. They wanted me to fix things, to bail Ethan out, to ignore Dad's lies. Same old Quinn, the cleanup crew. I walked away, my head spinning. Was I crazy, overreacting? No. The proof was right there, texts, receipts, bank statements. They were choosing Ethan again. Protecting Dad again. I felt sick, betrayed in a way I hadn't since I was a kid, begging for their attention. I wanted to scream, to shake them, to ask, why don't I matter? But I didn't. Instead, I sat in the guest room, staring at my phone, Lila's screenshots burning a hole in my brain. I wasn't done digging. If they wouldn't tell me the truth, I'd find it myself. And when I did, there'd be no going back. I couldn't keep it in anymore. The texts, the bank statements, the lies, they were choking me. Mom's health was still a mystery, but her call had dragged me back into this mess, and I was done playing nice. I waited for a family dinner. Ethan was finally home, swaggering in like he owned the place. The dining room smelled like Mom's overcooked lasagna, and the tension was thicker than the sauce. I sat across from Ethan, my hands clenched under the table. Tonight, I'd get answers, or I'd burn it all down. Mom started, voice soft. I've been thinking about the lake house, she said, glancing at Dad. We could split it, make things fair. Fair? The word hit like a slap. Since when did they care about fair? I leaned forward, eyes locked on her. What's wrong with you, Mom? You said you were sick. What's going on? She fidgeted, picking at her napkin. It's just tests. I'll be fine. Fine? She didn't look fine. Her face was pale, her hands shaky. But before I could push, Ethan cut in. Can we not make this about you, sis? I've got enough on my plate. Enough? I laughed, sharp and bitter. Oh, right, your restaurant. The one you're funding with their savings? The room went quiet. Dad's fork froze midair. Mom's eyes widened. Ethan smirked, leaning back. What's that supposed to mean? He asked, all cocky. I didn't blink. I saw the bank statements. Thousands gone. Vegas, bars, your business expenses. Care to explain? His smirk faltered, but he recovered fast. You're snooping now? Real classy. I pulled out my phone, held up a screenshot Lila sent. A $5,000 withdrawal straight to Ethan's account. Classy? Like blowing their retirement on your gambling? Mom gasped, hand to her mouth. Dad's face turned red. Quinn, that's enough, he snapped. Enough? I wasn't close to done. And you? I turned to him, voice shaking. Those business trips? Hilton, Marriott with Natalie? Who is she, Dad? The air sucked out of the room. Mom's face crumpled, like she'd been punched. Ethan slammed his hand on the table. You're out of line. You're ruining everything. Ruining everything? I wanted to scream. They'd been ruining me for years. I'm the only one telling the truth. I shot back. You're all lying, to me, to each other. Mom started crying, soft sobs that made my chest ache. But I didn't stop. Mom, you knew about Dad, didn't you? And Ethan's mess? Why do you keep protecting them? She shook her head, tears streaming. You don't understand, Quinn. We're a family. Family, that word again. Like it meant anything when they'd always chosen him. Dad stood, chair scraping. You don't get to judge us, he said, voice low. You left. Ethan stayed. He's building something. Building what? A disaster? I laughed, tears stinging my eyes. And what about me? I worked for everything I have. You never cared. But Ethan screws up, and you hand him the lake house? That's when it came out. Dad's jaw tightened. The lake house is Ethan's. I signed it to him years ago. For his future. My heart stopped. Signed it? To Ethan? I looked at Mom, begging her to say it wasn't true. She wouldn't meet my eyes. You knew, I whispered. You both did. Ethan shrugged, like it was nothing. You don't need it, sis. You're fine. Fine? I was shaking, rage and hurt boiling over. You gave him everything. Grandma's house, the savings, your love, and I get what? A fake apology? Mom reached for me, but I pulled back. Quinn, please, she sobbed. We'll figure it out. We'll make it right. Right? There was no right, not after this. I stood, my chair tipping over. You lied to me, again. You dragged me here, acting like you cared, but it's the same game. Ethan wins, I lose. Ethan rolled his eyes. Drama queen. Maybe if you weren't so selfish, I cut him off. Selfish? I'm the only one who's ever been honest. I turned to Dad. And you, cheating on Mom, signing away what's mine. You're pathetic. His face twisted, but he said nothing. Mom was still crying, muttering, we didn't mean to hurt you. Didn't mean to? That was worse. They didn't even think about me. I grabbed my bag, my vision blurring. I'm done, I said, voice breaking. Done with all of you. Ethan scoffed. Good. We don't need you. That hit like a knife, but I didn't flinch. I walked out, the door slamming behind me. The night air was cold, biting my skin as I stood on the porch, chest heaving. I wanted to scream, to go back and break something. But what was the point? They'd made their choice. They always had. In my car, I sat there, hands gripping the wheel. My phone buzzed, Mom probably, with more excuses. I didn't answer. Instead, I thought about the lake house. Grandma's voice echoed in my head, telling me stories by the water, promising it'd be ours to share. They'd taken that too. But something nagged at me. A memory from years ago, when Grandma's estate was settled. Papers I'd signed, tucked away in my apartment. Deeds? Could it be? I didn't know yet, but one thing was clear. I wasn't letting them win. Not this time. I started the car and drove, my heart pounding. This wasn't over. I drove back to the city, my hands white-knuckled on the wheel. The fight replayed in my head. Ethan's smirk, Mom's tears, Dad's silence. They thought they'd won. They thought I'd just take it, like always. Not this time. That memory of the lake house deeds kept nagging me, a flicker of hope in the rage. I'd signed something years ago, back when Grandma's estate was settled. Dad was too busy to deal with it, so I'd handled the paperwork. Could I still have them? I needed to know. Back at my apartment, I tore through my closet, digging out an old box of documents. Bills, leases, random receipts, and there they were. Yellowed papers, stamped and notarized. The lake house deeds, in my name. My breath caught. How? I remembered now. Dad had rushed the process, told me to sign as a formality. He'd never checked, never realized the lawyer filed them under me. Their mistake, my leverage. I sat on the floor, papers in hand, heart racing. They thought they'd given it to Ethan. They had nothing to give. I didn't sleep that night. My mind churned. Anger, yes, but also clarity. This was my chance to take back what they'd stolen. Not just the house, but my dignity, my place. I called Lila, my data analyst friend, and spilled everything. Can you check if these deeds are still valid? I asked. She didn't hesitate. Send them over. I know a guy. By morning, her lawyer contact confirmed it. The deeds were ironclad. The lake house was mine, legally, undeniably mine. I could have confronted them again, waved the papers in their faces, but that's what they'd expect. Me, emotional, begging for fairness. No, I was done playing their game. I met with a real estate agent instead, a sharp woman who didn't ask too many questions. Lakefront property? You'll get top dollar, she said. I nodded, calm on the outside, fire inside. I wasn't just selling the house. I was cutting them off, for good. Every dollar would go to my UX startup, a dream I'd shelved for years to survive their chaos. Not anymore. The sale moved fast. Within weeks, I had a buyer, a tech couple from the city, looking for a weekend retreat. They offered a number that made my head spin. I didn't haggle. I signed, wired the funds to my account, and felt a weight lift. That money wasn't just cash, it was freedom. Freedom from their lies, their favoritism, their betrayal. I pictured Ethan's face when he found out, and for the first time in days I smiled. But it wasn't done yet. I needed closure, not just for me, but to make them see. I drafted a letter, short and sharp. You thought you could give away what wasn't yours. The lake house is sold. There's nothing left to divide. I attached a notarized copy of the deeds, proof they couldn't deny. I mailed it to Mom and Dad's house, no return address. Then I blocked their numbers, Mom, Dad, Ethan, all of them. No texts, no calls, no guilt trips. I'd spent years begging for their love. Now, I was done. Lila texted me updates, scraps she'd found online. Ethan's restaurant pitch had crashed. Just as I'd figured, no investors, no plan. Just a trail of bad reviews from pop-up events he'd botched. He was back home, mooching off Mom and Dad, who were scrambling to cover bills without the savings he'd drained. I felt a pang. Mom's health, whatever it was, hung over me. But then I remembered her silence, her lies about the lake house. She'd chosen Ethan too. They all had. I threw myself into my startup. The sale money gave me a runway, hiring a small team, renting a co-working space, building an app I'd sketched out years ago. It was mine. Every pixel, every line of code. No one could take it away. Late nights at my laptop, I'd catch myself thinking about them. Did they get the letter? Were they fighting, blaming each other? Good. Let them. They'd built this mess. One night, Lila called. You need to see this, she said, sending me a link. A local news site had a blurb. Ethan's restaurant was officially dead, shut down after he'd skipped out on vendors. Mom and Dad were named in a lawsuit over unpaid loans tied to him. I stared at the screen, my coffee going cold. Part of me wanted to feel bad. They were my family, right? But then I remembered the dinner, Ethan's smirk, Dad's betrayal, Mom's tears that meant nothing. They'd made their bed. I leaned back, exhaling. The deeds, the sale, the letter. It wasn't just revenge. It was justice. They'd taken everything from me. My trust, my childhood, my share. Now, I'd taken it back. My phone stayed quiet. No desperate voicemails, no apologies. Fine by me. I didn't need their words anymore. I had my life, my work, my future. And they had nothing but each other's lies. I saved one last move for myself. A meeting with a lawyer, not to gloat, but to protect what was mine. She drafted a will, ensuring none of them could ever touch my assets. Smart move, she said, handing me the papers. I nodded, signing with a steady hand. This was it, my line in the sand. They'd never hurt me again. I walked out, the city air sharp and clean. For the first time in years, I felt light, free, and ready for whatever came next. It's been a year since I mailed that letter, since I cut the cord. My life's different now, sharper, like the world snapped into focus. My startup's alive, humming along in a cramped co-working space. The app we're building, my app, is getting traction, whispers of interest from investors. I'm not rich, not yet, but I'm building something real, something mine. Nights are long, fueled by coffee and takeout, but I'm okay, more than okay. I'm free. I don't check on them anymore. No late-night scrolls through social media, no asking mutual friends for updates. But word gets back. Lila, ever the sleuth, sends me snippets when she hears them. Ethan's restaurant dream is dead, buried under bad debts and worse decisions. He's back home, crashing on mom and dad's couch, no closer to being a chef than he was a decade ago. They're struggling too, savings gone, bills piling up. A cousin mentioned mom's health is still shaky, tests dragging on with no clear answers. I feel a twinge when I hear that, a flicker of guilt. Should I call? Check in? But then I remember her silence at that dinner, her tears that hid the truth. She made her choice. They all did. I think about that night a lot. The way Ethan smirked, like I was nothing. The way Dad's voice cracked when he admitted the lake house was Ethan's. The way Mom begged without meaning it. I used to lie awake, replaying it, wondering if I was too harsh. Was I the bad guy for walking away? For selling what they thought was theirs? No, I wasn't. They'd spent years pushing me aside, choosing him, lying to my face. I didn't owe them anything. Not anymore. Still, letting go isn't clean. It's not like the movies, where you cut toxic people out and never look back. Some days I miss the idea of them, the family I wanted, not the one I got. I miss Grandma's lake house too, the way it smelled like pine in summer. I'd sit on the dock as a kid, sketching, dreaming of a life where I mattered. Selling it hurt, but keeping it would have hurt more. It was theirs, their prize to dangle over me. Now it's gone, and I'm the one who decided. I did something with part of the money, something they'd never expect. I donated a chunk to a local charity for kids who've been through emotional abuse. Kids like I was, stuck in families that make you feel small. It wasn't a lot, but it felt right. A nod to the girl who used to hide in her room, sketching to escape. I didn't tell anyone, not even Lila. It's not for clout. It's for her, for me back then. A way to say, you deserved better, and now you're giving better to someone else. My phone stays quiet these days. No texts from Mom, no calls from Dad. Ethan tried once, a drunk voicemail I deleted without listening. Good. Let them stew. Lila says they're blaming me, telling anyone who'll listen I stole the lake house. Stole? I laugh when I hear that. They stole my trust, my childhood, my place in that family. I just took back what was mine. If they're falling apart now, that's on them. They built this mess, brick by brick. Work keeps me grounded. My team's small but scrappy, and we're onto something big. The app's a tool for freelancers, helping them track gigs and get paid on time. It's practical, like me, but it's got heart too. Users love it. Every download, every 5-star review feels like a win. Not just for me, but for the kid who was told her ideas didn't matter. I think about her sometimes. That younger me. Would she be proud? I hope so. I'm trying to be someone she'd look up to. Late at night, when the city's quiet, I sit by my window, watching the lights. I think about what I've learned. Family's not blood. It's who shows up, who sees you. Mine didn't. That's their loss, not mine. I used to crave their approval, their love. I'd bend over backward, hoping they'd notice. Now, I don't need it. I've got my work, my friends, my life. I'm enough. Do I regret it? Selling the house, cutting them off? Sometimes, in the quiet moments, I wonder. Could I have tried harder, talked it out, but then I remember the dinner, the lies, the years of being invisible. No. I did what I had to. They chose Ethan, every time. I chose me, and I'd choose me again. I'm not healed, not completely. There's still a scar, a ache that flares when I hear a song Grandma loved, or see a lake that looks like ours. But it's softer now, less raw. I'm building something new, something they can't touch. My startup's growing, my life's my own, and I'm okay with that. More than okay. I'm proud. I glance at my laptop, at the app's latest prototype glowing on the screen. This is my legacy, not theirs. And for the first time, I know I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. If this hit close to home, hit subscribe, drop a comment, and let's talk. I'm here, and I listen.